what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy this film review. Jake, this was, normally get done with these things, I might have like 6 pages of notes, 7 pages of notes. I think I topped out at 3 this game, and it's just because it was so solid on so many fronts that there wasn't a ton to critique or to pick at, and it wasn't even like last week where it was still a tense game, and we talked about some of the big like combinations and situations that LSU was able to overcome, and they showed toughness here, getting this stop to start the second half and then take over. Right. No, this game was pretty much just an ass beating from beginning to end, and between this and Mississippi State, just choose your most complimentary football game of the year.
I mean, you open up the game with like a 4-play touchdown drive, and you take the ball, and you're like, okay, this is what it's going to be for LSU's offense. What's it going to be for LSU's defense? Because we know the offense can do this. Well, they get off the field in 5 plays. So, like, even within the first 2 series, like, okay, this is exactly the blueprint that we need to see in this game. We talked about it. We want this game to be boring on Friday. And, well, it was in a good way. It was in a very good way. I thought the defense did a lot of things better. And I know we'll get into it as we kind of dive back into the tape. I thought the zone coverage was better. I thought you had more short tackling than you've had. Is this a good offense? Absolutely not. Talking about Auburn's offense. It's not. But you needed this game. You need this game. You need some momentum as you go into the kind of the thickness of that schedule that we've talked about. So everything that you wanted to do in this game, you ran the football highly effective. All right? I mean, coming out from the very get-go, Logan Diggs is hitting a big hitter on that first drive. Jayden Daniels continues to be Jayden Daniels. Malik Neighbors continues to make plays. The offensive line continues to play really, really well. Even with Emory Jones going down, right, Lance Hurd, I think he had one situation where they brought sub-pressure and he didn't fan out. Other than that, I thought he had a pretty solid game. Yeah,
and I don't even know if that was on
I don't either.
The time when Jayden got – because the whole line slid left.
Line slid left, yeah.
And so I think that was just a bad pass protection identification. Or, whether quarterback or Turner, I don't know who's making that call, but everybody seemed a little off. No, it was – look, the offensive line's hard to talk about just because they are so consistently good that there's just, like, what do you say? What do you quibble at? Like, there's a reason why the rushing attacks having so much success, and it's because every single time the line of scrimmage is getting reset 2 to 3 yards downfield, and it's just I guess I don't know what to say to that. Look, that was a good Auburn defensive front. Like I said going into the game, the one thing that worried me about this was Auburn was very good in the trenches, right? Yeah. And we've seen this LSU D-line really struggle against, bad O-lines, in my opinion, this year. And we've seen this LSU offensive line really struggle in game number 1 against FSU, the other best defensive line that you had faced up to this point. Auburn wasn't even, 52-50, I hyped them up last week. You probably didn't even see him on Saturday. Like, they were never even an issue. The defensive front for Auburn, that front seven, felt like an afterthought this game. Jayden Daniels was given time to just coolly and calmly stand back there and really just do whatever he wanted. And with the form that Jayden Daniels is in right now, if you're going to allow him that kind of time, you're gonna see exactly what you saw the other night. He was perfect again. And it's not just decisions on when to run. It's not just where to go with the ball, but when he's running, how he's running. He had a scramble on the goal line, Jake, that did not score. That was some real, just like high school kid playing in the backyard with the junior high kids energy. It was so simple the way that he was just dodging tacklers left and right, manipulating them, cutting, running around them, and then just barely getting tackled before the end zone. And I got to give our guy Lon Phillips, shout out Lon Phillips, Sullivan, LSU Odyssey. You know, he does great work. Right now, Jayden Daniels has 2,809 total yards. That is first in the country. That is 500 more total yards than Michael Penix, who's currently second.
Yeah.
He has a passing efficiency rating of 197. That is first in the country. He has 22 passing touchdowns after Caleb Williams finally takes a step back. He's only one tud behind Williams for the nation's lead. And just passing yards alone, he's number 3 in the country, trailing Shadur Sanders by just 100 yards. And, he's number 3 in the country in yards per game. Again, I mean, you can't say enough about what you're seeing out of Jayden Daniels. And remember, we called it on Friday. This was a revenge game. This was an Auburn defense that shut him down last year from 8 of 20 for 80 yards to now another 400 yards, another 4 touchdowns. He just seems to kind of just walk into this kind of stat line.
And he continues to use the entire football field, which becomes so much more impressive than what it was a year ago, because it was impressive a year ago how he played, certainly at times. Was it, the totality of the season? No, but he certainly had more highs than he had lows. But now it is so much more impressive, as I mentioned, because there's not a part of the football field that he's not attacking. Mm-hmm. And this game, I mean, how many times did he hit that 15, 18-yard dig route?
Yeah, right
and
over
throw
the middle.
it right over the linebacker's head and throw it in that window before the receiver even gets there. He's not throwing to where the receiver is, where he's going to be, and has so much confidence in that throw. And a lot of times you don't see that in college football. Like you see it in the NFL, certainly on Sundays. You don't see it on Saturdays. And so the confidence that he's playing with right now as well, the decisions that he's making, knowing when to hold on to the football, knowing when to get rid of it, knowing when to run, when to stay in the pocket, right? He's only leaving the pocket this year if he has to.
Yeah.
It's not like last year where you could tell like that's where he was comfortable, so he got out of the pocket, then he made plays. I have no notes, like as far as like things that you need to work on. Right now, he's playing at a higher level at the quarterback position than anybody else in the country. It's like even Michael Penix, who was fantastic on Saturday. I mean, he tore up a really good Oregon defense. He is not playing to the level Jayden Daniels is playing at right now. Like this is special. This is something you do not see very often. This is something that here at this school, with all the great quarterbacks that have played here, we've probably only seen it one other time.
Yeah. And look, make no mistake. I mean, right now he's on pace to throw for 4,000 and rush for 1,000. So I think like Kyler Murray's maybe the only person that ever done that. And obviously, Kyler Murray won a Heisman. Yes, Taylor?
I think Deshaun Watson did it, or he may have been like 3,500 and 1,000. I'll check.
Yeah. Either way, look, if Bill Connolly has his mid-season kind of season in review out today, and this was nice to see because we're all kind of monitoring the Jayden for Heisman stuff. He had him second to Penix, which again, of course you are, because it's not saying that like, and he even says in the article basically that it's because of the losses, right? Like that's just how this award works, and so because of that, he's at number 2. Otherwise, he would be number 1.
Even
so
if
all
you
of that
probably
hype.
Didn't have the Ole Miss loss. Probably if you just had the one Florida State loss.
Oh, yeah, you'd be 100%.
Yeah.
I think you'd be first. Well, I mean, look, you just played 5 SEC games in a row.
Yeah.
And you should have been 5-0. You finished 4-1, but it's okay because you still control your own destiny. That's what you have to continuously remind yourself. Ole Miss has to play Georgia and A&M. Now, A&M, who knows those guys. But Georgia, I know Georgia struggled this year. I do not think Ole Miss is going to beat Georgia. And if they don't, well, guess what? Then you control it. Because if you beat Alabama, you got a tiebreaker for them. You beat A&M, you're good to go. You just can't afford another loss in the way that this team's playing right now. At least his offense, they're going to, I don't believe anybody's just going to blow you out. Like it's going to come down to the end in any of these potential games. I'd say one of the craziest parts about Jayden Daniels at this point to me is throws that I never expected him to make in the past. Now, when they miss, I'm kind of like shocked. Like there was the early throw on, it was just like a post to the back of the end zone with Malik Neighbors, bit of a timing throw coming behind the defense, and he had him, and he almost put it in, but he just put it like a couple of feet behind him. But that's how perfect he's been this year that I was kind of surprised. Or there was another one where They brought out all cover zero blitz, and he throws a fade to Malik in the end zone. And again, we've seen him drop it in the bucket so many times this year. When he did it, I was like, oh wow. But last year it was the opposite. The expectation was that he was probably going to miss the throw, and if he hit it, we would have been impressed. And now he's just, oh wow, wrong. Somebody mixed up the cough buttons, so that mine's on Jake's side and Jake's on mine. What a troll!
That is a good troll.
Wow.
Leave it like that for. Well, Matt's only got one.
But something else before we get out of here doing this first segment. Mike Denbrock's doing a hell of a job, man. I was very critical after the Florida State game, right? Despite calling his offense a just collection of sounds, whereas the Seminole offense felt like a symphony. Well, this one feels so cohesive now. You see the concepts building off of each other. I love the play design of the first touchdown. Malik goes in jet sweep motion. You have a fake zone read going the other direction. Kyron Lacey runs off the corner on like a go route, then ends up blocking him. Mason Taylor with an excellent lead block ahead of that jet sweep motion. It's just so
his
multiple.
Best game by far.
Mason Taylor played great.
Yeah.
He played great. But I really just believe, the jet sweep to Caleb Jackson, empty, I thought was a great call. The wheel route to John Emery, where you fake the jet sweep, you pull the center, fake zone read again. You have a tight end. Like even if they pick up Emery on the wheel, you have Mason Taylor doing an interesting kind of delayed drag where he starts blocking, then's coming over. And it's just, Mike Denbrock's doing great. He's doing great. Just bottom line. And he is writing that symphony. And then there at the middle is the conductor, Jayden Daniels. And that's why you see so much production from so many different players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different players catching balls. Maybe even more impressively, 6 catching multiple.
Yeah.
This game. Jayden Daniels is using every single inch and blade of grass that field is offering him.
I mean, you had 3 running backs catch a pass, and the starting running back wasn't one of them. I mean, it just kind of gives you an idea of how many people are playing, how many people are contributing to this offense, and to T's point, how many people are getting involved. And I am a huge fan of getting the entire offense involved because every player out there thinks he's live on every single play. And that is important. You might be like, well, shouldn't they always think that? Yeah, you should, but it doesn't always happen. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, man, I'm out here. I'm in the slot in the third receiver. Well, I know the ball's going to 8 or 11, right? Maybe don't run your route. Maybe you run it 90%. Maybe you don't run it the full 100%. So when you get everybody involved and everybody that's in that game plan that's out there on that field thinks, hey, there's a chance I can get the ball. I got to go out there. I got to do it. Or even if you have the belief of, like T-Bob's talking about with the combinations, right? If you're running this, I'm running that, it's opening up that. But you run it to your full ability, and it's just not easy to get those things done sometimes. And all of that sounds like it should always get done. It's just not the case. So when you have an offense that's going like this, they're playing for each other, they're calling the right plays, they're opening up things for each other, they're making the plays when it is their turn as well. Like Josh Williams is a perfect example of this game, right? He only got 3 touches. 2 of them ended in touchdowns.
Well, and again, his receiving touchdown is something to highlight because it's a direct growth point from what we yelled about earlier this season, where he's in pass pro. They're only sending 4, and I mean right away, he sees, okay, no, my guy dropped into coverage. Right away, all he does is leak out and then just turn around.
Yep.
And Jayden's reading. Great protection by the O-line, of course. But nobody's open downfield, and you can feel, these quarterbacks got that internal clock that you always hear about where even if there's not pressure, it's been too long, I got to get rid of the ball. And so Jayden's reading, nothing. Okay, just dump it to Josh. He's right there. That's exactly why you do that. He's the outlet. And they were so worried about Kyron Lacey and Malik Neighbors and all that receiving core that Josh had open field to work with. And then he pushes it into the end zone. I mean, it's exactly what we were yelling about earlier this season, the evolution that we wanted to see out of the running back position in pass pro. Logan Diggs had some beast pass pro in this game.
He did.
There was a safety or a corner coming on one with a full head of steam, and not only did Diggs stonewall him, but he pushed the safety backwards, right? The guy with the 15-yard running head start got immediately shifted backwards. So the offense is just perfect right now. They're clicking on all cylinders.
I don't remember what game it was, but we sat up here and we gave you the running backs pass pro grades, and a lot of it's because they weren't getting out. They were inviting pressure, and it was a real issue. Like, it was a real issue within the offense This game, they both, Josh Williams and Logan Diggs, both upper 70s as far as pass pro grade. And pass pro is probably the thing PFF grades the hardest.
Yeah.
I usually think so whenever I look at these grades, but they are doing such a good job now of getting out when they're supposed to block. They've always been able to block. It's not been where they're just olaying guys, but it was about staying in when you don't have to. Well, like T said, Logan Diggs is stoning people right there. The backs are getting out. Everything right now in this offense is clicking, and you want to continue that. It's almost one of those situations where you're like, do we have to take the bye week?
Yeah,
Like, because offensively you are just
you're just a little cincy. You're just a little cincy about the Braves.
About what?
About the Braves right now.
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, wait, what's this got to do with LSU?
I know, the bye week, guys.
No,
come on, keep
man,
up.
I'm sensitive because football in my career as well. When you're going, man, who was it? Was it the 49ers or somebody was like, same situation. I heard like, man, I don't want a bye week. And then,
wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.